Uh, I, yes, I have a question about the exercise of Mother Mary that she asked us to connect to the Christ mind through our conscious self, pure awareness, and then to look back or down to the identity body, the mental body, and the emotional body. And that's where, for me, it's a little bit difficult, because then my thinking mind wants to take it over, because then I see myself looking down, and then where's my mental body? Where's my emotional body? So it's a little bit, at first I was just connected to something. I saw self and that was it. And then I worked on that self. But now if I'm going to the Christ mind and I'm looking back, then I'm again in the thinking mind. So I'm not able to look at how can I look at my identity, at my mental and at my emotional body? How I don't know how to do that. So
okay. Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to me is that I, of course, I understand it, because, you know, I see for myself also that my thinking mind has always been very active. So whenever I go to the mental level, it's like you go into it and then you start thinking. But what they are actually talking about, what she was talking about, was you stay at that level. The conscious you withdraws, and then you stay at that level looking down without going into the thinking mind. And I understand that's not easy in the beginning, but I think with a little training, you'll be better at doing it. Yeah, it's like you're, metaphorically speaking, you know, it's almost like you could say that you are climbing up a tall ladder, and now you're looking down at your mental body, but you're not inside of it, so you're not thinking. And I would think that maybe it can help to become aware of this, what the masters have said, that the selves always define some kind of problem. And I know for myself that my mind, my linear thinking mind, thinks it should be able to solve every problem. It should always be able to find out, you know, what's the cause of it, and if I can change the cause, I can solve the problem. So it might help to be very clear that when you're looking down at the mental body, it's not about solving a problem. It's just about seeing what kind of self there is that projects that here's a problem you have to solve, without going inside of it.
Maybe I just have to experience what kind of self comes up.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like the mental body is some container you can see. You see the cells that are in it. You see the contents, really. Yeah.
You have never experienced the mental realm, or I mean, that's easy, but the identity realm, then you cannot know what it is, what it feels like, what touch is.
Well, I don't know if I've experienced it or not, because I never thought about it that way. I just let it.
First, you need an experience of that which you want to experience. I mean,
then you need a definition also that it is the mental body.
That's how.
Yeah, but I would say though that we have all experienced the mental body, yes, and the identity body, because we're thinking, and that's at the mental level. So I understand what you're saying, that if you can get an abstract idea of the mental body, that can help you not being so pulled into thinking. I can help you, look at it from a distance more. But I still think, you know, if you can't do that, then you don't need to really see what the mental body is, because the purpose of the exercise, and now we're given several exercises about this, so I'm not sure exactly what, but one of the exercises, at least, it is just to look back. You're first pulling yourself out of it, so you're not identified with it. And then you're looking back, and because you're seeing it from the outside, you might be able to see it more clearly than when you're inside. And then you just need to identify that self, and it could be like it could be a self in a mental body that defines how you're supposed to be as a mother, or how you're supposed to be as a woman. You know, and it projects that there's some goal or some goal that should happen or some problem that should be solved. And therefore, when you're inside of it, your thoughts all revolve around solving that problem. And therefore, you can't see that it's just a self you've taken on, and it isn't really real.
Because I'm worthless. So there was a sense of worthless. Because
yeah.
yes, I did the exercise again. So I felt the total worthlessness of myself. So I was in my identity body.
Right.
So, but the exercise maybe looking down on the identity body, that confuses me. But I will do what you say. Just look at the self that come up and then work on that self.
Yeah, because that's at least the first step, is to try and see some of these selves. And then now you're saying yesterday I was connected to my identity, but we are always connected to it, because we are really experiencing life and thinking through them. So it's again this, you put on a pair of colored glasses, and that's the identity body. And then there's another for the mental body, another for the emotional. But I think you have to start wherever you're at, whatever you can connect to. But the purpose of this, you know, and I think back of all the years I've been on the path, and I read a lot of books about psychology, and I've studied various spiritual teachings. And there's nothing that really has been as meaningful for me than this teaching about the separate selves that we just take on. And because we have taken them on, we can take them off. But in order to take them off, we have to see that this is not me. So you are saying, and I understand it, you know, see what I wrote down, I'm a flawed being who can't do anything right on earth, because that's what it feels like when you're inside. But so the purpose of the exercise is that you step outside of that, so you see, yes, there is that in the identity body, but it's not me. It's not coming from me. It's coming from this self that isn't me. And when you then realize or experience that you're not it, then you can begin to say, well, what if I just let go of it? Do I need to solve the problem? Because I look back, I mean, I probably, some of you have heard this before, no doubt, but I had this experience a number of years ago that I saw that I had something in, I didn't have the concept of cells, but I had something in my mind that wanted to solve problems. It was the problem solver. And I realized that even if I solved a particular problem, it would immediately come up with another one, because this self was geared towards one thing, solving problems. And if there were no problems, it was out of work. So, and it didn't want to be out of work because it would die. So there always had to be a problem. So I actually realized that, you know, it's like I saw that you can look at the world or even your own life and you can say there are certain problems here. But what this self was doing, it was creating problems inside my own mind that didn't have any relation to anything outside, really. And that's why I realized I could keep doing this the rest of my life. And so when you see that this is not real, that's when you can come to a point to say, am I really worthless? Or is it just a self that's projecting this? And then you can start saying, well, why did I create this self? And this is again the teaching about the birth trauma that you were probably exposed to, the kind of attack from the fallen beings that many of us have been exposed to. And you felt that because you couldn't, whatever you do or don't do, and you try to do something, it's again, as we come as avatars from a natural planet, we want to help. And all of a sudden we realize we can't actually help. We're like, you know, there's nothing you can really do on Earth because it's not a natural planet and people don't want to change. And then the fallen beings attack us and we feel like we shouldn't have been attacked for wanting to help. And so then it's easy to go into feeling worthless, in your case, in my case, embarrassed, whatever it is for each of us. And that's when we can come to see that it was very understandable we had that reaction. But it was just a reaction to conditions on Earth that are very unnatural and very unkind. And it was natural we had it at the time because we were so shocked. But now that we've been here longer, we can look back at this and unravel this self and see what is the belief behind it. And you can realize it's not true that I'm worthless.